box.
Hello and welcome to Con Air, the podcast. I am Mark, Billy Bedlam's face smash from hell, Hoffmeyer.
And I am Jay, blind, one-armed, paper crumpled Cluett. Welcoming you aboard Con Air, the podcast, chapter 22. On this show, Mark and I fly our way through 40 chapters of Con Air, scene by scene, with some wonderful guests. And this week is Con Air chapter 22. What happens in Con Air chapter 22? Well, Billy Bedlam has found Cameron Poe's personal items in the hold, unwrapped Casey's birthday bunny, and is reading Poe's parole letter. Poe finds him and requests he return the rabbit to its receptacle. But when Bedlam makes no motion to do so, Poe repeats the request and they engage in a crouch fight. An errant foot dislodges a steam-spewing jagged pipe, and when Bedlam holds Poe down, Poe kicks him, impaling Bedlam on the pipe and ending his multiple life sentences. It's our shortest chapter for the film. We need a wonderful guest to talk to us, so joining us is our second member of the Empire podcast team, from Fade to Black and the interviewer of Simon West at the Con Air post-screening earlier this year, I bring up every week, is Amon Woolman. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. That was a fun night, and I'm glad you guys enjoyed it.
Crouch fight. We get to talk about the crouch fight today. I'm very excited.
I'm very honored that you picked me for this particular, very important, iconic part of the entire podcast. I did not take that lightly, so thank you.
I remember when you were interviewing Simon West, this was the scene that you kept kind of brought up as being the famous bunny in the box. You seem to have a lot of love for this scene. So when thinking of a guest for it, I couldn't think of anyone better.
Oh, thank you. Simon was on great form that night. It was really fun. Fun chat.
Mm-hmm. They say put the bunny back in the box 3 times in 81 seconds.
Yeah.
It's wonderful. And I love at the end of the scene, after Billy Bedlam has met his demise, like the camera, just a nice one shot on Cage, just kind of like, why didn't you put? But I love this. I'm a big connoisseur of fights. Like, I love bathroom fights. I love kitchen fights. I love nonstop because there's a bathroom fight in an airplane, which I adore. But like, this is one of the rare crouch fights. I was looking online. Like, I know Spider-Man crouches a lot, but this is the rare crouch fight in a film, and it just makes me happy because there's a lot of kicks. Cage is very kick heavy in this scene. I love how Bedlam attacks him like a xenomorph in the tunnel in Aliens, just runs at him with his limbs flying. And it's just a beautifully unique and like probably the most quoted scene from this movie, I would say. It's beautiful and it's different and it's fun.
Yeah, 100% agree with everything you just said. It's interesting. This scene and thinking about the scene, thinking about talking about it today, the thing that popped into my mind, I'm not sure if you guys have seen this clip, but it was Tom Hanks and Tom Holland on the Graham Norton show. Yes. And Tom Hanks is sort of training or coaching Tom Holland in terms of different ways to deliver a line in quick succession. And it's really interesting the different ways that Tom Holland was throwing at him and what it meant to say a certain line a certain way in each of the different ways he tried it. And you're right in that put the bunny back in the box, or variation of it in the last one, is said 3 times in 81 seconds. But in each one of those times, it means something a little bit different based on the delivery of Nicolas Cage, which is really, really interesting and great acting for me. I love that.
Oh, wow. How would you explain the 3 of them? One of them's like a threat, right? Ooh. Like one of them is...
Well, yeah, no, the first one is like, okay, boy, put the bunny back in the box. Like, he's trying to be a little bit nice about it to a degree. Like, if you just do that, then, we can sort out the rest later. That's the first one. Then when he sort of keeps on keeping on, Billy Bedlam is like, okay, this is the third one. Like, put the bunny back in the box. And obviously that's the one where the camera zooms in on it slightly as he's saying it, which is just accentuates it even more, which is great. And then the final one, when Billy is dead, it's like, I love it because the entire film, for the vast majority of the film, he's almost a reluctant hero to a degree. He doesn't want to have to do what he's doing. So when he's dead, it's like, why couldn't you just put the bunny back in the box? I didn't want to have to do this. I didn't want to have to kill you. But now look at this. If you just listen to what I said, this could have been avoided. That's sort of what I was taking from that particular line of it. And it's great. I love all 3.
He adds so much to this movie, Cage. And listen, he adds much to all of his movies, but it wasn't until we started re-watching this, re-exploring every chapter that just like the, oh, hi, Garland, when he says it all flat to him, like Cage really does. Like, I was admiring you in your Cage. Like, he he really does add a lot to his line readings in this movie. Like, he gives it that extra oomph that I think it's one of the big reasons why people still talk about this a lot today. But like just Cage, like just every chapter I say this, but I keep finding ways to appreciate his performance more and more. With saying lines like "put the bunny back in the box" 3 times in 81 seconds. It's beautiful.
Yeah,
it's absolutely beautiful.
It's. I mean, you're right in that it's the most quoted line from this film, and it's just is it like. Again, I'm not only saying this because it was very sort of a recent thing for me, but I last night, as we were saying this, I was at the Royal Albert Hall for John Williams' Home Alone Live. With the live orchestra and choir, which is incredible. And I was just like thinking of John Williams' filmography, and just like any composer would kill to have one, just one. A Superman, Star Wars, Schindler's List, Harry Potter, Indiana Jones.
Jurassic Park.
Just one. He has all of them. And I'm just thinking now what you're saying in terms of Nicolas Cage has this line which is quoted so often, and he has a ton of lines that is quoted so often from his career. I thought it was cool just have one.
Yeah.
And he has several. And that's incredible.
Yeah, 2022 added, Nick Cage smooches good.
Yeah. Oh, I had such a good time watching The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent in the cinema. When the whole
it opens on Con Air.
Yeah.
Yes.
Con Air. We loved it.
Yeah. And the whole Paddington 2 bit is just it made me laugh a lot. I was laughing a lot during that entire film. It was great.
When you went into this John Williams Home Alone screening, were there like micro machines on the ground? Were there nails? Were there broken ornaments? Paint cans? Was it like they let you in for free, but you got to survive to get to your seat? Were there tarantulas? Was there any of that?
Paint cans swinging without any warning throughout the show.
Thankfully, no. Although it would have been memorable if it was. Not gonna lie. But no, none of that. Just a brilliant orchestra and a brilliant choir and a really cool venue. Like I consider John Williams to be the greatest composer of all time. I don't think I'm alone in thinking that. And this just gave me even more appreciation for his work. The orchestra really did a great job. And Home Alone, honestly, I might have to rethink my John Williams ranking because the score for Home Alone is fantastic. So yeah, might just sneak into my top 10 now, but you know, John Williams his filmography is insane. So yeah.
Did someone have a snow shovel and like hit a giant gong or anything with it? Did anybody?
What sort of Home Alone live screening do you want to go to? It's nothing like I want right now.
I love chaos, so I'd probably get sued multiple times for my Home Alone John Williams orchestra, but you know.
I did not see any Snow Shovel Man cosplay. No. Next time there's a screening like that, I will let you know, and then maybe you can do that yourself.
Yeah, I'll corner the market on that. That sounds good. I'll be that guy. Actually, if I ever cosplay, I want to be Guy Pearce from Lockout because no one would have any idea who I am, and like my wife would come with me. She would have an apple and a gun. And nobody would know who we are, but I would be very happy about it. That's probably my cosplay that I would do.
For some reason, I found myself rewatching that film fairly recently. I don't know why. Great. It has its moments. Guy Pearce has a few good one-liners in that film. I'll grant you that.
Do you think Guy Pearce would have been good as Cameron Poe?
Oh, that's a tough question to answer. I think he would have been good as a Cameron Poe, but it's hard for me to distance my Cameron Poe from what Nicolas Cage did now. But Guy Pearce is a super talented dude, probably one of the best actors we have working today. We don't say it that often, but in terms of character actors, he's fantastic. So yeah, I'm sure he would have been good as a Cameron Poe, but it would have been very different to what we now know as Cameron Poe. Yeah. If that makes any sense.
Copy that. Yeah, no, I can't see anybody other than Nick Cage.
Yeah.
Doing this
if
role.
they'd made it like 10 years later, I think Guy Pearce would have benefited than Nick Cage at that point.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm trying to see it in my head. I don't know if the hair would have been the same.
Oh, no. That's true.
Then I don't want to see this film.
Yeah.
But this scene though, like, actually, when did you first watch Con Air? You probably talked about this during the panel, but like, what's your history with Con Air? Were you just so I'm 40. I went and watched like, so I knew about him from like Guarding Tess and Trapped in Paradise. Like I knew about him as like that guy, and all of a sudden between the 2 years, he's the biggest action star on the planet, and he's jacked out of his mind in Con Air, and I'm just thinking to myself, like, what happened? Like, look, like the dude from Guarding Tess is now like the #1 action star on the planet. Like, what's your history with Con Air?
It's a good question. Like, it was a while. It took me a while to watch it. Like, I think I watched it, the first really big Nicolas Cage film, action film wise, I think might have been Face Off, and then I watched The Rock, and then I watched Con Air, in that order. So yeah, it took me a while to get to this one. It's definitely the most ridiculous of the three, which is saying something because the other two do have their ridiculous moments. But yeah, I loved it. I loved it, and it was a real sort of nice treat for me to be invited to do that Q&A. I something that I definitely want to be doing more of, but a lot of the time it's more for people of color, black-led content, which is fine, and I understand that. But to be invited by Julian Alcantara, who put together the Action Fest, one of the people who put together the Action Fest, asked me to do it, was really, really cool. And yeah, I think it went really well.
Nice.
It was fantastic. Yeah, highlight of my year, I would say.
Oh no, just stop. Now you're going too far.
I mean, just like seeing Con Air on the big screen it was the first time seeing it on the big screen for me. I was 10 when it came out, so I didn't see it in the cinema. I mean, just that coupled with Simon West, and I saw the Jurassic Park VFX show immediately beforehand. So that triple bill was just a delight for me.
That's a good night right there. I saw snippets of it on the big screen that night. I think I was prepping for the interview as it was playing a little bit. So I'm just going to do my questions, making sure that I get everything I need. But yeah, I saw the end, and I took in the applause. It definitely, you guys are definitely into it, which I liked. Yeah.
I worked for Wizard World Comic Con for about 5 years, and I did like 50 shows around the U.S. And some of my friends led the panels, and they asked the questions, they like did the Q&As. I think I would be terrible at that. Like, how do you prep yourself to talk to, like, how do you, I don't know. I think I'd be too, like, I don't know. That's how do you make it interesting with the answers? Like, what did you do to prep for this one?
Well, for any interview that I do, I like to prep just ridiculous amount. Because one, I like to not catch them off guard, but like my two main rules for interviews are make them think and make them laugh. If I'm doing either of those two things or both of those things, then I'm 90% of the way there to a really good chat. And part of the prepping of that is to what questions have they been asked, what questions haven't they been asked, and what gaps can I fill here that would be interesting. That's part of it. The other part of it is my peace of mind. If I know going in that I have good questions, I've prepped well, then that plays a role in just calming me down and helping me enjoy it more. Because the number one thing about prep is that I'm doing it to minimize the chance of something going wrong in what I'm doing in terms of question asking, in terms of preparation. Like, I don't want to be caught like, just like silence. So what's the next question? No. I don't need any nightmares, scenarios like that playing out. So that is also part of it. And then in terms of the Q&A thing, I've gotten a lot better at it over the years. Like for me now, I try within like the first 5 minutes, even sort of shorter, to like have a joke that the audience respond to well. If that happens, then that is again something that just immediately calms me down, because I realize they're having fun, I'm having fun, person I'm chatting to is probably having fun. We're gonna have a good time. Let's just have a good time. Take all the pressure out of it. Let's just enjoy it. And if that happens, and I think that happened on the night, then it's like, okay, yeah, we're just gonna have a good time, gonna have a good chat, and yeah, all of those things are necessary for me to just put me in the right mindset. The first Q&A I did, like, it was weird. Like my well, not weird, but I've always known or had a feeling that I could do it. And I've been in the audience for so many Q&As. When you're on stage with the mic in your hand, it's a different feeling, especially that first time. Like, my heart was beating fast, I remember. But again, I made a joke, I think, in that particular Q&A. I made a Black Panther joke, and everyone laughed. I was like, oh, okay, we're good, we're fine. It also helps, obviously, if the person you're interviewing meets you halfway and has fun anecdotes and all the rest of it. And Simon absolutely did. So, yeah.
Oh, heck yeah, that's cool. Excellent. Like, I guess I taught public speaking when I was in college, and, like, that's, like, the most feared thing that people can do is speak in public. But I was like, guys, just be prepared. You're still going to be scared, but at least if you're unprepared and scared, it's going to be ugly. So at least know what you're talking about, right? And then you can do a good job.
Know what you're talking about. And honestly, like, I sort of just go into performance mode now, where I'm sort of, interacting with the crowd, playing up to it a little bit. Again, something that helps me out, just relaxes me and ensures that everyone is having a good time. We're not just like, just listening, watching lackadaisically, that two people just having a weird conversation. Yeah. Bring them into it a little bit. I try and do that.
Putting micro machines on the ground, throwing paint cans, tarantulas. That's how you
know what? I'm not coming to any screening that you're putting on. This sounds like just hazards everywhere.
There's going to be a waiver for my show.
They do a Con Air screening where you got beat Nick Cage in a crouch fight.
Yeah, to get into the theater, you have to out wrestle me in there.
Well, I mean, or just like approaching in a crouch. You got to go through a crouch down tunnel.
Yeah, well, that's a great idea. All right, I'm gonna get working on that. That'll do.
It's a bad.
So I got a random question. So I think this bunny is such an epic prop. It's kind of one of the iconic props from a Nicolas Cage movie, and just knowing that The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent came out in 2022, I was thinking about this. If y'all had a Nick Cage room, which props from all of his filmography would you want? So you can get we can do 5, we can do 3, we can do whatever you want. But what props from Nicolas Cage movies would you want in your Nicolas Cage room?
Oh, that's a good question. I'm not sure if you could call it, but like, I love his bike from the first Ghost Rider.
Oh yeah.
So that would be cool. By the way, that movie has its moments. It's overall, it's a bit of a, it's not great, but it has its moments. Like when you got Nicolas Cage's Ghost Rider and the horse Ghost Rider riding to San Venganza together while Riders in Disguise playing. That's a cool moment. And there's a lot of really cool moments with that bike. It does its stuff on water. It goes up the building. It goes down the building. Like, I like the bike, so that would definitely be one.
Travolta's face.
Definitely Travolta's face.
Oh, beautiful moment.
You got Cassavetes does great in that scene too. Just playing off of Cage in that. Yeah, that's Cassavetes. Blind Furies, Cassavetes.
If I'm not mistaken, the virus from The Rock was in the room, right? That would be a cool one to have.
The green.
Yeah.
The Chain of Pearls, was it? Yeah.
Yeah. And also, I mean, okay, this one definitely had that. And also was in the room, but the guns from Face Off.
Oh, yeah.
There should be like the Rock virus could be a Christmas ornament. It's like that chain of green thing.
Yeah.
It's 100%. That should be on the Nick Cage Christmas tree.
I need to start working on that. I did some soul searching and I picked out some fun ones if y'all want to hear them.
Okay, yes, absolutely.
Yeah. The number one, I would have the piece of wall that had fart written on it from Raising Arizona. If they could just cut that into a square, I would frame it in my house just with the fart on there.
I was thinking, is it diapers that he picks up?
Yeah, the diapers.
That would be, Raising Arizona.
I love that chase scene. Oh man, Holly Hunter is so good. And then I put the bear suit from Wicker Man. That'd be really creepy.
Okay.
Good.
Battle axe from Mandy. I would have to have the battle axe.
Very good. Very good.
Bunny from Con Air. It's not original, but you need the bunny.
Yeah.
And I think the pinball machine from Willy's Wonderland.
I just wrote that down.
And the Ringer T-shirt for sure. I would love to have my Nick Cage one. Would be awesome.
His wooden hand from Moonstruck as well.
All of his tank
good
tops.
stuff.
Like, you know how you collect, like, you know how, like, football players exchange jerseys? Like, I would just have his tank top. So, like, Moonstruck tank top. Let's see, what else? Like, Con Air tank top, this signed. Put a number on it.
Is he the most iconic tank top wearer for you in cinema? There's been a few, because I think
Gotta have Bruce Willis.
Yeah.
Willis, The Rock. Or, no, is it no? The Rock has just been like in the green sort of safari shirt.
He wears like Under Armour.
So one of the things I work on a lot is I do really insane studies about movies. Like I figure out how far the creature from it follows. Like I've done like a lot of weird data articles, and I actually watched all 99 or 100 plus Nick Cage films to see which ones he wears a sleeveless T-shirt in. And so
wow, that's dedication right there. I'm impressed.
He has them in Valley Girl, Birdie, Racing with the Moon, The Boy in Blue, Raising Arizona, Moonstruck, Firebirds, Wild at Heart, Deadfall, Red Rock West, The Kiss of Death, Con Air, 8mm, Captain Corelli's Mandolin, Bangkok Dangerous, The Croods, Joe, Between Worlds, Looking Glass, A Score to Settle, The Croods 2, The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. So those are his. I have the screener for his Western, but I haven't watched that yet. So.
You got that screener?
Yeah.
I want to see that.
Yeah. So that reminds me. I wonder what the expiration on that. Well, yeah, I gotta watch that soon. But
I mean, can you imagine he wears a sleeveless shirt in a Western?
Like a vest,
like,
maybe?
I can't see that.
Well, Mongo did in Blazing
It's
Saddles,
okay,
right? He just he would have to cut the sleeves off of his shirt.
If anybody can find a way.
But yeah, I just wanted to drop that on you. So I think so. I mean, let's see. Bruce Willis, right, has Die Hard.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, but yeah, I mean, just by sheer number. But I would say the best one's probably Probably Con Air Nick Cage, or maybe Raising Arizona. Or Kiss of Death, like beefy Nick Cage. Tank top.
You got Con Air's beefy Nick Cage as well.
It is.
We haven't got to his beefiest in the film yet, but he is. He's up there. That's fine.
But yeah, that's a very weird data article I spent way too much time on.
But not your weird.
I love it.
By the way.
Oh yeah, I've done much stranger data posts. That's for certain.
Drop that knowledge. I'm here for it.
Listen, anything like I like having data that drop on people that nobody has ever thought of or wanted to think of or like deems necessary, because that's what makes me laugh. So I like dropping really weird things on people.
I still love the Adam Sandler dive that you did with his best worst movie.
Oh yeah, Jacked Up. I created a fake when he said if he wasn't nominated for an Oscar for Uncut Gems that he would do the worst movie ever. So I analyzed his filmography and I came up with the worst Adam Sandler film. So
which is?
It's called Jacked Up. So I made it up. So like I wrote the plot. I came up with like there's a jet ski chase in a lazy river. Like I wrote the whole thing and like it got pretty good press, but I don't think I meant it in love because I love Sandler. But
when he's engaged, he's really good. Like Chris Hewitt of the Empire Podcast, he keeps giving me crap because I gave Hustle, his Netflix film, 3 stars instead of 4. I was on the verge of giving it 4. And if I was in a different mood that day, maybe I would have. But he is great in that film.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, he still got it.
You can tell he loves being in that movie. Like yeah, he's definitely engaged. Like you watch Jack and Jill, and I mean Pacino puts the work in that movie, but not so much Sandler. I took us a long way away from Con Air, so I apologize.
It's so good.
But like I also too like this is probably the only really big fight. I mean, this is only the kind of only one-on-one fight in the plane.
There's a few one-on-ones on the fire truck at the end, but this is the main one.
Do you forget that there's a fire truck chase in this movie when you watch it? No?
We often do.
Yeah.
No, I like the fire truck chase.
It's great. It's great. It's a different film.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right, the only one-on-one, and I like how it uses the environment as well, from especially with Billy Bedlam's end, and yeah, it could have easily been a thing, especially Simon West, still pretty green filmmaker at that time, for the close quartersness of the fight scene to make it difficult in terms of giving you clarity on what is happening and where everything is. But the sequence does a good job of making clear all those certain things. Even the rebar that pops up to kill Billy Bedlam, there's a shot of it being sort of released into the position that it is, so that when Billy dies, you know how he dies before the camera slowly pans away to see the thing stuck out of it. So it's good filmmaking too.
Absolutely.
And you feel like in a lesser film, they'd kick that
100%.
pipe, it would spring up, and you'd cut away to like Johnny 23 trying to wash his hands in the bathroom, and the sink stopped working.
Yeah,
Because like the pipes just disrupted the water. This is action scene. We're not going to cut away from this.
I mean, what we had was like 2 decades later, you had Liam Neeson in Taken 4 with like 5 billion cuts for like the 30
Just to
seconds.
jump over a fence.
So, you know, it's definitely need a good filmmaker. He knows what he's doing to put these scenes together with the energy, but also the clarity they require to have the impact that the filmmakers are aiming for.
Yeah, you mentioned they're using the environment. I noticed it was Cage that was using the environment. Bedlam is just kind of scrapping. He's fighting,
Yeah.
but Poe, he's the one who like bashes Bedlam against the ceiling. It's a low ceiling. He then swings from the pipes to give Bedlam a kick, and then he's the one who spots the pipe and kicks him onto it. Whereas Bedlam is just scrapping. He's just brawling at anywhere he can. But I like
always mind your surroundings.
Ranger training. He's a ranger. He's trained for this.
He does down dog and lifts up, like the yoga pose. And
That's an
lifts
intense
up.
yoga pose.
Yeah.
There's a guy on top of him.
That's hot yoga right there. Bottom of a plane, fighting somebody while doing down dog and propelling Bedlam into the air. Like that's a cool thing. And also too, like Billy Bedlam's trying to kill Cameron Poe, but he's not choking him. He's not trying to
Terrible job.
Yeah, he's not trying to snap his neck. He just has his hand on Nick Cage. He's just basically smushing Nick Cage's face. And I'm like, is he gonna like palm him to death? Like, what is this the Bedlam? Is this like World's End? Like, what is this? Like, I love the Billy Bedlam face smash from Doom.
This is the only terrible moment of the fight, because he's just holding Cage's face down, but doing nothing with, like, both of his arms are free.
Yeah.
So, like, the way Cage gets out of it is he just uses both of his free arms to just push Bedlam aside. Bedlam's doing an awful job here.
Learn how to fight, Billy. Why don't you?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, he's just killing people when they don't see it coming. He's never had to battle a Nick Cage in the bottom of a plane.
He took out an entire family who were not suspecting him. So, yeah.
And now he's brawling. But I was watching that little face smash, and it just put a big smile on my face. Just like, I'm gonna kill you. And where does Bedlam rank in regards to prisoners for you? Like, is he a top tier prisoner on this plane, or like where do you think he ranks in regards to all the people on here?
It's a good question.
He didn't know about the takeover. He's a passenger at Cyrus's barbecue.
Yeah.
To bring up
This
a line
is your
of
barbecue, Cyrus, and it tastes good. Yeah, probably just outside my top 5. You got Cyrus, you got Ving, Danny Trejo. The pilot does give me a kick.
Yeah, Swamp Thing is a delight.
Yeah.
Garland be up there, do you reckon? Buscemi?
I was thinking about this. It's interesting because, like, I think a previous episode mentioned this. He doesn't do anything bad, particularly in this, even though his rap sheet is, of course, awful.
Right.
And that's I know that there was a deleted scene, which obviously got deleted, in which he does something awful. But he's a curious presence all the way through the film. I'd probably have him as a number 5, and then Bedlam 6. Although Billy Bedlam is such a freaking great name.
Yeah, that punch up from William Bedford to Billy Bedlam is beautiful.
Yeah, it's a great name.
Yeah, Billy Bedlam. I could retire on that nickname.
Honestly, there are certain scenes that I'd love to be a fly on the wall for when they're putting these things together, and that particular one, coming up with character names, coming up with that prisoner intro rap sheet, I just want to be a fly on the wall when yes, Billy Bedlam, fantastic. That's lunch, people. That's lunch. We'll just celebrate that for a bit. Come back the next day. but awesome day's work.
It's 8:30 a.m. and you're like, great day.
I just imagine that's probably how it went down, something like that.
Yeah, what a great name for Billy Bedlam. Yeah, that's wonderful. What would your so I made up a name for myself. I said I would be the Capricious Slaughterer just to annoy everybody when they say my name. Like, what? There's no it's not alliterative. It's a terrible nickname. But what would you want your name to be if you were on this plane?
Put me on the spot here with these good questions.
I probably should have sent you a list, but I kind of like just dropping questions on people.
No, this is interesting. I don't know exactly what the name will be, but it will probably be a play on me sort of having these Amon guarantees on certain Empire podcasts. So it's a guarantee that if you see my face, that's the last thing you see, or something like that. I don't know exactly what the name would be, but that would be what the meaning of it would be. If I was a villain on Con.
You have a reputation for being the best dressed. Chris always introduced you as the best dressed person. I'm very much enjoying your Spider-Man jumper today, by the way.
Thank you. No, I've just come back from. I was in London earlier today with a few of my nerd friends for our annual Christmas meetup, and then after that we went to go and watch It's a Wonderful Life at the Prince Charles Cinema. It's my first ever time watching that movie, by the way.
Oh wow! Okay.
And we always wear our Christmas jumpers. So this is like Spider-Man Christmas jumper that I'm wearing right now. Yeah, and It's a Wonderful Life. Good movie. Would recommend. Can see why people still talk about it. Yeah.
So your nickname could be based on it's Amon the Tailor or something. Based on.
Yes. I like that.
It'll sew you up or something. I don't know.
You and Mark Rylance just running around causing chaos.
Oh, yes.
I love this.
You know Sorry, speaking of Mark Rylance, I just thought about this. I would love for his Bones and All character to be on this plane.
I haven't seen this movie yet, by the way.
Okay,
I didn't know he was in it.
Oh, well, okay. I don't want to say anything else, but once you watch it, think about him on this plane, and I think it becomes that's a lot, actually. I short circuit a little bit. That doesn't happen much to me.
No, yeah. I've heard things about this performance which makes me even more intrigued to see it, because I would not expect a Mark Rylance to be in that sort of role from what I've been hearing. And the fact that you are saying that he could be a member of the people on Con Air just goes further to show like this is a bit different from Mark Rylance. But I love this. He's
left the BFG behind.
Totally, completely.
I want a Mark Rylance intro like in Con Air when he gets off and just walks and they talk about John Cusack is talking about him. Yeah. All right. Sully. So when you watch it, just shoot me a message. You'll know.
Oh, for sure. For sure. Yeah. Just keep an eye on your Twitter DMs because we will talk.
What do you think about Cusack's suit in this movie?
Oh, man. That is how they dressed back then. Very baggy. Very baggy. Yeah. It's not exactly form-fitting.
No.
But, I guess it works for him.
Yeah. I mean, he makes it work. He has the confidence for it. I guess when this was out, I was 15. So I guess if I was in my 20s, I'd probably be wearing a lot baggier clothes because it was the 90s and it was nuts back then. But, we just had fun with that suit talking about it this time. But and that's another reason why I love this movie. Everyone's heard me say this, but it's John Malkovich, John Cusack, Nicolas Cage, Ving Rhames, like just a stacked group. Steve Buscemi to me at the time was probably the dude from Fargo. So like all these guys popping up in this movie felt really odd to me. It kind of sort of changed maybe. Like I hadn't seen like Dirty Dozen at the time. I hadn't really seen like Great Escape any of those things. We get these big character actors in these movies, but this one sort of changed how I was like, this is interesting. This isn't Arnold. This isn't like you have a bunch of character actors on a plane. I think that's why I think I love it so much, is because it's just the odd cast in this.
Yeah,
it really is an outlier.
Yeah, no, you're completely right. I love the cast. I love how they bounce off each other. And yeah, that's just more proof that sometimes casting well and casting the right actor for a character matters more than just the star power of it all. And I would love for more Hollywood decision makers to realize that, because it doesn't always happen. And I get why in certain respects, but, you know, all the people that you said I definitely heard of, but imagine if there are other people who could do the role just as well that you hadn't heard of, and they cast that perfectly. That would put that name into the wider consciousness and make us know about them and have them go on to do better stuff. All this sort of talk is actually reminding me of what happened with In the Heights. I will make this make sense, because I know this is a left field, but like, there's so many ways that movie could have gone, and I've read like when Lin-Manuel Miranda went to certain studios, they're like, you know, cast Jennifer Lopez, cast Shakur, or whatever, cast these all people, all big star power. He didn't, and now I know who Leslie Jones is, and she was going to be Batgirl. She should have been Batgirl, but then Warner Brothers did what they did. But that doesn't happen without In the Heights and people casting the character well, while in just the star power. And I feel like that is what they did with Con Air to a degree, which is great.
Oh, wow. And like Melissa Barrera,
Exactly.
like just now she's in Five Cream.
Movie.
Yeah, like,
yeah,
she's crushing it. And like Anthony Ramos, like he had bit parts in Godzilla and that Liam Neeson movie, but then he had
Hamilton behind him as well.
Yeah, well, I'm talking like big screen.
It's gonna be new Transformers though.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be heck yeah.
Which I am genuinely looking forward to. I know that some of the other Transformers films have been a bit hit and miss, to put it mildly. But I feel like, you know, I'm a big Peter Cullen as Optimus Prime fan. Like, he is on my Mount Rushmore voice acting, and for him to still be doing that character 38 years in is special. And as someone who's just a massive Batman animated series fan, the fact that we just lost Kevin Conroy, who I've always said is the best Batman. Yeah. Like, I'm not about to take your Kevin Conroy's, your Peter Cullens for granted. It's just really, it does my heart good to know that he's still out there doing that fresh Optimus Prime work. I'm very excited to see it.
Yeah, and that last Transformers, I gotta say, when Mark Wahlberg pulls the sword out of the stone and becomes King Arthur, I kind of fell in love with that movie a little bit.
I didn't see that one.
Oh, sorry, Jay.
Probably for the best, Jay. Probably for the best.
He pulls the sword out. He does. And Mark Wahlberg becomes King Arthur.
Gosh.
Right, yeah.
No, I will not accept this as happening. I refuse.
This is cinema.
Yeah. I had to watch every Michael Bay film and count all the explosions. And I started muttering to myself during the Transformers movies. Like, I had to count them all. And I was talking to myself. Like, I was like walking around my house, just throwing my hands up in the air, pausing it. Like, that was a life-changing experience, counting all the explosions in Michael Bay cinema. But what you're going
to have to start doing with Michael Bay cinema? You're going to have to start counting all the drone shots.
Oh,
because ambulance has many.
Nothing but, yeah. Oh my God.
I guess I respect it because he shot that movie in 35 days, but I was sitting there going, this is a lot. Like, there's no point for that drone shot, Michael Bay.
He should have switched the drone for an editor. I think that's what
I do like the cast, though. The three people in that ambulance. Like, I loved watching the three of them together. Like, that's like a body horror movie. If you think, like,
I would have preferred that film to have never left the ambulance. Make it 85 minutes long and it's just in the ambulance the whole time. I think that would be a great film.
Like a phone booth?
Yeah.
Or like a buried?
Yeah, kind of. Better than phone booth.
Yeah. Good old phone booth.
It's a very different film, Francis, but that's what I want.
That's a weird pull, phone booth. That's the first movie I went to, the Joel Schumacher classic.
Really?
Yeah, Colin Farrell, Katie Holmes.
Wow.
Wait,
amazing.
Kiefer Sutherland. It was like a Lost Boys reunion. Yeah, that's how my brain works. I'm just saying movies now, so I apologize for that.
It's all good.
So, you mentioned a scene that you wanted to be a fly on the wall of earlier. What I want to see is missing from this film is Billy Bedlam trying to find Cameron Poe's box and going through everyone else's box, rifling through their stuff. Because we only see him with Poe's open, but I just want to see that scene. Like, okay, well, who is this one? It's like, what? It's like Pinball not on the plane anymore. His stuff is up for grabs. Did he have anything fun in his box? What about? I was like, Popovich, Benson, and Carls. They died. They didn't get transferred. But did their boxes get transferred, or is their stuff fine? What did they have? Like, what's up for grabs now? Why everyone down there getting their stuff and playing with it and partying?
It's like that Storage Wars where you open up a storage container just to like see what's in there.
Oh, I need Ving Rhames to take it doing like leading an auction. Like who will give me for Popovich's box? You can't look at it yet.
8 packs of cigarettes.
I'm intrigued as to what he saw first when he opened up the box with the bunny in it. Where he was like, the box has a bunny in it, it must be Poe's, or did he see the warrant thing first and then he picked up the bunny? Like, I'm intrigued as to what the order of those things was.
And he's unwrapped the bunny. Last we saw it, it was in a wrap. It was in plastic. He unwrapped it to play with it.
And it's a great character detail again. He's reading Poe as a free man, and Poe just doesn't care. He's like, put the bunny back in the box, and any other character's like, oh shit, I've just been discovered. Poe doesn't care. Just put the bunny back in the box, I beg you.
Oh, wow. He's put it together.
Well, there's no fear. You're right. He never is like, hey man, like what,
Let's talk about this. We can work this out.
Mm-hmm.
Man, Cameron Poe's a beast.
He really is.
He's met before. He knows that there's no talking him down. But this is Poe's second kill in the film, I think. Has he killed anyone else on the plane? I can't remember.
I mean, has he thrown the dude off the plane yet? He has, hasn't he?
He dropped Pinball.
Yeah, Pinball was already dead at that point. That wasn't his fault.
Yeah. True.
He knocked out Wayne. He killed Wangro, right?
Yes, he killed Wangro at the start. Kevin Gage. But I don't think he's killed his. He didn't kill Sims. He didn't kill Benson Cosplay. Yeah. This is Poe's second kill. So like,
he knocked out Danny Trejo.
Not yet. Oh, I mean, yeah, he punched it down. Yeah.
Dude, what's in Billy Bedlam's box?
Ooh. This is good.
Yeah, what do you think? What are some items that Billy Bedlam would have in his?
We don't know that much about him as a person. Is the problem? We just know that he did.
I need to go back to his rap sheet.
Yeah, well, he found his girlfriend in bed with another man, so he drove over and killed her entire family, including the dog.
Damn.
That's what we know about him. And he was in the same prison as Poe, but never saw him. And in that prison, they may have served black cherry jello in a deleted scene.
Yeah. I love that. So, he supposedly killed the guy for Jello. So what's in his box? What is? Does he have things on his walls, Billy Bedlam?
Yeah, maybe. Well, I mean, I honestly cannot think of anything that's going out. If he just had an empty box, I'd believe it. If he just had just nothing.
Because no one's going to send him gifts. Like his wife and her family, they're not.
I think the one thing that I will guarantee is in Billy Bedlam's box. Had to put one in there. Probably some saucy magazines.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
But other than that, I can't think of anything right now.
Well, I just 40 of those in a box.
I reckon he's got a box full of stuffed animals, and he's unwrapped that bunny to add to his collection.
Oh.
I haven't got a rabbit. I've got a fox. I've got a polar bear. I've got a raccoon. Now I've got a rabbit. Oh, he's just fitting the set.
He's holding on to that thing with bigger. He's really interested in that bunny.
I'm gonna cuddle this in bed tonight. This is my new bunny.
Yeah. If he managed to get the better of Poe, that bunny would be close to him for the rest of that movie. But obviously that did not happen.
So he has 10 magazines and 4 fluffy stuffed animals.
Yeah.
How could he have beaten Poe? Like, in what circumstance could he have won this fight against him?
I mean, if he let Poe come to him, I think he has a disadvantage because he's the one advancing on Poe at the start.
Yeah, like a maniac. His arms are swinging, and then he just punches Poe in the face. Like, yeah, he just lands.
Yeah.
I guess if it's a one-punch KO.
Yeah,
he does the first punch.
Yeah.
I don't think the close quarters nature of the fight helped him out. Maybe the more open space, it'd be more I still think Poe would take him. I just think Poe has, and it's again down to Cage's acting, but he's reluctant to get involved, but he's confident enough that if he were to get involved, he knows that he'd be fine. And it just comes through the screen and comes through that character. And I believe that in any sort of situation, I don't believe, especially in a fair fight, like he wouldn't lose. But I do think in a more open space, it would have been more even between Billy and Poe.
That's a great point, because a guy named Bedlam shouldn't be fighting in close quarters.
Yeah.
When I see Bedlam, I picture like a field.
Yeah.
Just wailing on each other.
Just sticking jabs.
What was he fighting? He was pure Bedlam. He was just, there were arms everywhere. He really seems to be just trying to throw Poe down, and it's that face smash. That's where he goes wrong. He just doesn't have a good finishing move.
Too many villains go for this face smash, whether it's like towards like a track or towards like, get somebody's head cut off, and it always goes against them villains. I want to put together a supercut of villains holding a hero's head to the ground, like for a period of time. I feel like, like for like decapitations, or did that happen in Die Hard? He's almost decapitated by an elevator. Or is that Speed? No, that's not Speed. I don't know.
I just like that. I mean, it's been a while since I've seen Conan now, but I think there's little, if not nothing, of if someone has a gun in their hand, don't run up to the guy you're trying to shoot and then melee him with the gun. Yep. It's annoying as hell. Like, I think I just watched Violent Night recently, and they did not hide that well enough. Like, I noticed it actively while watching the film, and I'm like, dude, come on. You got a machine gun in your hand. What you need to do is point the machine gun and start firing bullets. Not walk up to the guy and try, what do you think is going to happen? Like, come on. I think that they do, like, with the John Wick movies, there's a couple of instances where I notice it again, but they do a better job of hiding it generally.
And they're very stylish films. They're like stylish assassins in that world, so that kind of makes sense.
Yeah. In here with Connor, somebody has a gun in their hand, that changes the entire nature of the scene, as well it should. So yeah, I like that too.
Yeah, he has
money. Even then, they still have like, oh, but people are gonna come if you and they hear the shot, and then they put the silencer on, so it makes a certain kind of hooray for the sound of silence. I'm looking forward to that scene.
Oh, another great line delivery right there. Oh my gosh. We finally got to the crouch fight. I'm telling you, like, I love airplane fights. I like wrote down a list. Like, my favorite one recently is in Infinite, where Mark Wahlberg rides a dirt bike onto the wing of a cargo plane, and then gets inside of the cargo plane and fights Chiwetel Ejiofor, and they have with samurai swords. Like, that's a pretty good plane fight.
I have not seen Infinite, but I'm loving the amount of Mark Wahlberg that's getting on this podcast. This is not something I expected, but I'm here for it.
And he also has a great fight in Four Brothers, where that's good. Another ice fight. That's one really good. But like, I don't know, like Eraser, Furious 6, like World War Z, Air Force One.
Oh, what was that? Yeah, great one. But yeah, that's the first good thing I've heard about Infinite, if I'm honest. That's the most compelling argument to watch it is for that plane fight, I think.
Normally, I don't like it when people say this, but sometimes people say movies are like a fever dream. And so I remember watching this and just going like, this is crazy. I was like, he's like a samurai sword maker, and he makes swords, but like they're the best swords. He's like, and then there's Jason Mantzoukas pops up for a while.
Oh, wow.
And you're just,
what's the name of this film?
It's called Infinite.
Infinite. I need to see this.
And they released it on just Paramount.
It kind of came and went.
Yeah. I don't even think it came in theaters. They put it on Paramount Plus in
last year.
Yeah. But like, by the time that he's in like the Scottish Highlands and he just rides a dirt bike onto the wing, and it's
what you're saying is it's cinema, and Martin Scorsese loves this film.
Would you count the Raiders of the Lost Ark brawl as being a fight on a plane? Because it's near a plane.
Yeah.
And it gets taken out by the propeller.
That
to me is the ultimate plane fight. It's literally plane adjacent. It's next to a plane.
Yeah, and on. Yeah, it's a great plane fight. But yeah, I think this might be one of my favorites. But yeah, Infinite. Anton Fuqua directed it.
Okay.
And I'm telling y'all, just is it good? I had fun with it, so yes. Like, but I think
having fun with it does not necessarily mean good. But
yeah,
okay.
Like, would I go up and like in front of a court of law and say that this is an objectively good film? No. But what I would say that if you're in the right mood for it and you like, it's like Cloud Atlas, but with Mark Wahlberg, but not. There's no Tom Hanks or Hugh Grant. It's nothing like Cloud Atlas. I'm sorry. It's
Whereas Con Air is an objectively good film. It's an objectively great film.
Thank you for getting me back from that, because I was spiraling.
I was trying to
I didn't even know where I was anymore. I was seeing flashes of light.
Believe me, if you listen to the Face of That podcast, you know Hannah Flint is a master of the segue. So yeah. But
you reeled me back in right there.
It's all good. But
I can't think about Mark Wahlberg fishing movies where you reel me back in. But yeah,
I will never get tired of watching this film. It's always a good time. It's so much fun. There's beauty in the simple nature of what it's doing, and the performances, the way the cast play off each other, the score with its wild guitar riffs. We haven't talked about that in this scene. We get a wild guitar riff in the crouch fight, which is great. So yeah, it's just an awesome time. And if you do get another chance to watch it on the big screen, as these fine gentlemen then take it out. Do that, because it's a lot of fun.
Heck yeah. Well, thank you so much for joining us. This is great.
Thank you for having me. This has been a lot of fun. I will always be here to talk about this movie.
Yeah. And say, since we're almost at the end of 2022, I know end of year lists are very subjective, so we don't have to say best, but what are some of your favorite films that are smaller, like some films that you recommend our listeners go check out, like 2022 movies that maybe need more love? What do you? I know you just saw Avatar. I'm watching that tomorrow, so I'm excited.
Yeah. No, I'd be very intrigued to hear what you make of that. I enjoyed it. I got some issues with it. I want to watch it again. Actually tomorrow, but I now have a clash on, so I'm not able to make it, which is a bummer. But yeah, intrigued to hear what you make of that. In terms of other films that I like this year, I think Everything Everywhere All at Once is my number one. Top Gun Maverick is my number 2. Glass Onion and Knives Out Mystery is my number 3.
Yes.
Turning Red is my number 4. The fact that of all the sort of animated films that have been released this year, Lightyear and Strange World went straight to cinemas, and Turning Red went straight to Disney. It just doesn't make any sense to me, because that film is fantastic.
I thought it was this year. Wow, so long ago, but it was so good. Yeah,
it's so good. I loved it. And had me singing 4-Town songs for a couple of weeks after it came out. I loved Good Luck to You, Leo Grande. That's my number 5.
Yeah.
If you guys have not seen RRR.
Oh yeah, beautiful.
That immediately.
Big fans.
It's so freaking good.
It took me a week to watch it, but it was still fantastic every time.
So good. And I was lucky enough to do a couple of Q&As with SS Rajamouli.
Oh, nice.
I did a BAFTA Q&A, and he was on great form. So
I'm gonna find that.
Yeah, no, please. It was so much fun. It was so much fun. I can't get over, by the way, right after this, I'm writing an article for Yahoo about the best superhero movies of the year. I don't know when it's coming out, but RRR is going to be number 1 on that list, just so you know. But I cannot get over all the action stuff in it is great. Music is great. The synchronized dancing is the thing I can't just get. The Natu Natu song, they have like a 10-second bit where they're dancing with suspenders, and also their whole body. It's like I've rewatched that scene, just that 10 seconds, multiple times. I can't get. It's hypnotic to me. How did they do that? So yeah, RRR definitely on my list. I love The Woman King. Watching that with a big audience was one of my favorite cinematic experiences of the year. It's so interesting how a big audience changes the game, because I watched that initially for the first time There's maybe like 10, 15 people in the screening room. And it was fun. I had a good time, but I wasn't sort of properly feeling it. I go watch it in the multimedia screening, which is majority black people, which, very, I mean, I say very, PR in the UK, when it comes to normal films, not normal films, but when it comes to films that aren't black-led, then there's not really many black people in the screening room. But when it's a black-led film, it's like, oh, we do know black people. Let's invite all of them. So that's what they did. And the cultural recognition of a few things that happen in that film, in that screening, just made the entire place come alive. So in our culture, like, you don't talk back to your elders. And there's one character who talks back to Viola Davis, who was like the Queen General. Everyone was like, eh? A lot of people were kissing their teeth at a couple of moments in the film, which is, again, something that we do when we're frustrated. And there's stuff like that happened. And I actually watched that with my mum, took her to the screening. I've never seen her clap while watching a film before. When the end happens and, a certain person gets crowned the Woman King, she was clapping, and that was a really big moment for me. So the Woman King's in my top 10. The Batman, I think, is the second best after our super film of the year. Then I put Wakanda Forever number 3. So yeah, there's been some good stuff this year. It's been a good year. Oh, After Sun.
Oh, beautiful.
Beautiful film.
That's in my top 3, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's below Moonfall, so we can discount.
Listen, Moonfall is a gorgeous movie. It is they fight the moon. They have to fly to the moon in an incredibly old spaceship that they found in a museum while the moon's falling on them, and then a gravity wave tries to hit them, and it's all green screen. It's so amazing.
I remember watching that film. I was in the screening with a couple of friends sat next to me. I can't remember the exact line, but it's when they're still sort of mobilizing and figuring stuff out, and one person is like, we need to sort of work together, do something like that. It's like, and then the response is like, I got my own problems I need to sort out. My son's just like, the moon is falling on stuff.
Yes.
The world is going to end. The world is going to end.
We just looked at each other like, what is this?
Yes.
What's going on?
Yeah.
So yes,
when Nick Cage went on what that.
Moonfall's number 1 now, so I need to rethink my entire thing.
Yeah. Remember when Nick Cage went on Woken, the talk show, and he was throwing all the high kicks?
Okay. Yeah.
That was me watching that movie. That was me watching Moonfall. I was throwing it. I was like punch dancing. I was warehouse dancing like in Footloose watching that movie. It just made me so happy. Moonfall.
I'm gonna watch more film. I'm gonna come to more film screenings with you so I can put that. But I'm not coming to any film events that you put on because I don't want to get hurt.
Hey, you've been warned, so you might have a better chance. Catapult seats. Like, I'm gonna get everything in there.
Gosh.
Also, the best catapult scene of the year is in Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, when the killer whale shoots one of the people from its tail. That's the best catapult scene of 2022.
Watch Avatar, then we'll talk.
Oh, there's catapult scenes in it?
Kind of. Yeah.
I'm gonna faint. Avatar, I'm gonna faint while watching this movie because I love sea creatures. I love catapult. So I have a 3 scale: catapults, sea creatures, and jet skis. And Waterworld's the only movie to feature all 3. So I hope Avatar at least does 2 of those. So I'm excited. Yeah.
Shoot me a message once you've watched it, because I'm intrigued to hear what you think.
Yeah, we'll do. Yeah, I'll shoot you Tuesday, because I'm getting out of that thing super late. So,
okay.
Heck yeah. And I'm missing a Woman King screening. They're doing a producer's going to be doing a Q&A afterwards.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, but I don't know. I guess I've seen it, so I wanted to go see Avatar. Yeah. All right, never mind. We're going long, but thank you for joining us.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Where can the listeners find you online?
Yeah, I'm on Twitter and I'm on Instagram at Amon Warman. Of course, you mentioned the Fade to Black pod. New episodes coming every Sunday. We're getting really, really good interviews lately as well. So peep that. And I'm on episodes of the Empire pod and the Empire Spoiler pod on a semi-regular basis. So you can find me there as well. And through all of those things, you'll be able to find what I do on the freelance basis for likes of British GQ, Yahoo, Enemy, Composer Mag, etc.
Heck yeah.
Very nice. Excellent. Mark, plugs.
Yeah, let's see. Rotten Tomatoes, you can go watch the Versus videos that I work on for them. I should have a new video coming out on the film fair. It's about the Black Phone. And then on Tuesday, I'm interviewing the director of a Wounded Fawn, the star of a Wounded Fawn, director of Werewolves Within, Josh Rubin. So he's going to come on. I have a podcast, the Movie Songs Inflict podcast. So we're going to chat with him about his latest movie. So that should be out, I guess. Should be out by the time this episode's out. So yeah, listen to that. I'm super excited to talk to him about his latest films because I really like Werewolves Within and Talk Scared. My brain's dead. Infinite shook me. So yeah, but yeah, listen to that. Listen to that on Movies.
Talk to Josh Rubin about his appearances on The Dropout. We'll talk about off. Yeah, his game changer appearances are fun. And you can hear Mark and I over on Deep Blue Sea, the podcast, where we talked about the entire Deep Blue Sea trilogy, chapter at a time. And we will have a bonus show out on Avatar: The Way of Water because it is Deep Blue Sea adjacent in many ways. So we'll definitely have an episode of that out on that one. And so thank you, Amon, for joining us. I didn't say we had 19 cons at the start of this chapter, down to 18. The numbers changed. There are 18 cons in the air left now that Billy Bedlam's passed. Got to update the spreadsheet. But thank you, Amon, for joining us.
Thank you for having me. It's been fun.
For Con Air Chapter 22, I've been Jake Lewitt.
And I'm Mark Hoffmeyer.
Come back next week or the bunny gets it.
Sigh.
Anara!